Well, hello everyone. It was the worst of times. It was the worst of times. Walking down to the 7-Eleven and getting stabbed is sort of like the urban version of walking into the sea. Every time I get a Slurpee, I put my affairs in order, blast the menu, and open my arms to death's sweet embrace. If it doesn't come, well, at least I do get a sweet treat. And I love my sweet treats. Today I opted not to get a Slurpee. You know what? I'm getting a little sick, so whenever I start getting feverish, I start getting real sensitive, and I just didn't feel like getting stabbed today. So I walked down to the other corner store, and that one has had its windows shot out a bunch. I was actually in the store one time and it was getting robbed. It got a gun pointed at me. And my first response was to take two lollipops and go, I'll take these on his tab, and walked out. And it was about an hour later. I was sitting right here on this couch and I was like, man, I could have gotten shot. What was I doing? I don't have any explanation that time. I wasn't sick and delirious. There's a real thing that's missing inside of me. I don't know if it's always been missing, but it's that fear gene. I don't care about dying. And I don't know. What is traumatizing to some, others find not even thrilling. I didn't even get a thrill out of it. I was just kind of indifferent of like, I don't know, man. I feel like in order to do my job, you kind of have to be like that because every day you go in, you're like, man, I'm probably gonna get shot today. And you just got to be cool with it, especially in my workplace. I get constantly yelled at. You get death threats and various threats, all the kind of threats that a person can give. I've gotten them and get them on a daily basis. And, everyone's just kind of like, well, that's what you do. And it's like, I guess that's what I do. I guess my job title should probably be more, you know, person who gets yelled at and threatened and sometimes assaulted on the job. Um, and you know what? They don't have sweet treats there. I got to bring my own. So it's really unfair. But in talking about my sweet treats, let me talk about a few more with Basket Case that came out in 1982 with Malignant that came out in 2021. Now, Basket Case is one of my favorite films. It brings me such warm feelings, so I always got to throw it on when I'm going through a bit of a rough patch. And of course, I did see the Baby Yoda movie a couple weeks ago or whenever that was, because time is a flat circle. And I hated it, and I have a short little review up of that, so you can, you know, check that out if you want to. But it did get me thinking about baby monsters, and hands down, that is one of my favorite cinematic themes. Of course, I did talk about this in my It's Alive Mother's Day video that I posted, I don't know, was that last year? And yeah, talked about how that film transformed really my thoughts on motherhood. And I thought maybe I could be a mother, but only to a, hideous abomination. And that's the only way I would ever want to be a mother. And I could mother a ghoul or a goblin or an exceptionally ghastly beast. And of course, I have mothered those creatures several times. From Hamlet to Ozzy to, of course, Spugly. Oh, my little prides and joy. I love my little smush face sons, and I love them wherever they are. I hope that you know they're just out there as ghosts, just spreading their terror across every realm. Yeah, so it makes sense that Basket Case would be a film I watch with quite fondness. And as a fun fact, this film precedes Dead Ringers, the David Cronenberg film. I think my favorite David Cronenberg. No, I don't know. I don't know. Put a gun to my head, I'll take some free lollipops. But I wouldn't be able to, like, if the guy had turned the gun on me and said, "Name your favorite David Cronenberg film, I'd be like, I don't know. That then I would probably be like, that would give me quite a fright. I'd be like, I don't know how to even possibly go about this, dude. Shoot me, I guess. Um, but I might blurt out Dead Ringers. It is one of my faves, and I've always described Basket Case as if Abel Ferrara directed Dead Ringers. So, kind of apropos, I guess. Um, a reviewer at the time this movie came out called this E.T. if it was written by a psychopath. So, it's like it was made specifically for me. At this point, all the evidence is pointing to the director was a clairvoyant and he made this for me before I was even born. So happy birthday, Katie. Here is Basket Case. Thank you so much. But we got beautiful practical blood. You know how much of a fan I am of practical effects, practical blood. There's even some like really fun RoboCop claymation thrown in there. Um, and the plot is it's pretty simple. We got this boy who moves to New York City with his detached twin that he carries around in a basket. So of course this is a classic trope. I trust we're all familiar with that. And they moved to this really sleazy, pay by the hour, cash only apartment building, just swarming with degenerates and perverts. And it's run by Stavros Halkias. Honestly, when you watch it, it's like, tell me that guy's not his dad. Like, it's crazy, dude. Um, but the detached twin in the basket is, of course, trigger warning, extremely cute and lovable. And I just love him. I do, and I can't help it. And if I ever saw him, I'd be like, "Who do you got in the little basket there?" And I would open it up and be like, "Oh, well, we got ourselves a precious little angel in there, huh?" But yeah, we get the backstory of these two, where at one point they were conjoined and tragically separated. The mother and father rebuke the deformed child. They literally want him cut off and dumped in the trash, which is just, I mean, my gasps every time that I watch this film. And I have many times, and I gasp every time just the same as this disrespectful father spews hateful slander against the smaller brother, Belial. His only crime at this point is being extremely lovable and adorable, and his parents are clearly suffering from derangement, I guess. His name literally means worthlessness in Hebrew. I mean, this is just, they literally put him in a hefty bag and dump him on the sidewalk. It's just like, and when you see it, you're going to be like, how in the world can anyone dump such a precious little darling like that? And it's because they're disturbed. There's just disturbed people in this world, and it sickens me. And I guess to give you a little bit more of what Belial looks like, do you know the Pokemon Geodude? Well, he is basically just a flesh version of that. Um, so, obviously you're gonna fall in love with them immediately, as you should, as one does and should, absolutely should. But from the trauma of his disgusting, sick, disturbed parents, he does develop a little bit of a temper. But it's okay. It's okay. He's allowed. And he loves to murder. He loves to murder, but that's okay because it's fine. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. He's allowed to do it, okay? And he's right to do it, honestly. I believe he's fully right to do it. And another kind of like fun fact about this movie is that that is like the boys come from Glens Falls, New York, which is like the small upstate New York town that my dad's from. I don't think my dad's ever seen the movie, but I always forget to ask him. Like, do you know this guy? Like, I mean, it's a pretty small town. So it's like, I mean, he must know this director. I mean, they got to be around the same age. So it's kind of, I really need to ask him next time I talk to him because it's like it's so crazy I never have. Um, but Belial, of course, wants to murder the doctors that have separated him and his brother Dwayne. And just like in ET, they can feel each other's feelings. Dwayne can even speak to him. He also feeds him hamburgers and he just chomps him down like he's in a cartoon. You just see the basket shaking around. He's like, yum, 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 eating it with the foil on and everything. He doesn't waste a thing, that sweet little angel. But it just gets you to think the filmmakers knew exactly what they were doing. They wanted us to fall in love and they achieved it. So, because I personally would love to feed him hamburgers, French fries, birthday cake. I mean, whatever the little darling wanted, he could have it. I'd even allow him this taste for flesh, but we'd have to be smart about it. The doctors they're after, I mean, they deserve it. To treat poor little Belial like that, they need to be taught a lesson. Their final lesson, of course. But Belial, he can't really help, he can't really help it. He's got to bring some attention to himself occasionally. One day he does have a bit of a tantrum, but it's really only because Dwayne is stupid and thoughtless, and he brings him this TV with exceptionally poor picture quality. And when little Belial goes to change the channel, he rips it. He rips the knob off with his monster claws. He can't help it, and he throws, he throws a bit of a tantrum. He screeches a bit. He throws some things around. He doesn't understand his own strength or the volume of his voice. He can't do it. He's still kind of a baby. And it's just he's a monster, a baby monster. And he can't. It's okay. I don't know why these noisy, like, I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, these nuisances of people, these noisy neighbors, of course, they have to call the police. And it's like, oh, you know what? That's pretty high and mighty for deviants, okay? I mean, I feel like in a place like that, there's a lot of depravity going on. And I don't understand why they want that heat brought on them. Um, when they should really just be minding their business. I do find this the most, like, I just don't, I find this the most unrealistic part of the film, quite honestly, because I live in a place like that, and I'm telling you, there is shit going down all the time, which I would hope and pray that there's baby Belials just throwing tantrums. Of course there isn't. It's much just depraved debauchery than that going on here. But these people, nobody says shit here because we're either A, afraid, or B, we don't want that heat brought on us. You know what I mean? We don't need that kind of heat in here. We all got our stuff going on. I hope to one day have a baby Belial in here. I don't want people in the business. So that's the way it is. But let's get back to the movie, of course. Because Belial, he's right to be upset, and I've ruled that he's innocent. So he doesn't even need to get questioned by the police or go to in front of any judge because he's innocent. He's innocent, Your Honor. That's it, completely off the hook. And he's also a little enraged because his brother's developed this dumbass crush and he's spending all his time with her. And it's like he's like completely ignoring little Belial. And when he should be the apple of Dwayne's eye, let's be honest here, it's giving a little bit of the parents vibe here that I don't like it. I don't like it either. I'm on Belial's side fully, honestly, 100%. Um, because how could you ever leave such a face? And I'm sure that girlfriend, she'd overreact if she ever saw Belial when she should be excited to meet him and read him bedtime stories. Of course, little Belial has been read bedtime stories before in my dreams. Not just in my dreams, though. He has been read bedtime stories because their aunt ended up taking both the boys in. And she loves them equally. Of course, I would love Belial more. Honestly, I would love him exclusively. Dwayne can get lost. He can go take a hike. He can figure it out. I don't really give a shit what he does. Um, but I was supposed to keep little Belial happy. I'd keep him around, get him bunk beds, matching pajamas, throw him birthday parties. Themed birthday parties, whatever kind of theme he wants. We'd go to a party store, and little Bly would always be able to pick them out. Because who gives a shit about Dwayne, really? I mean, who gives a shit about that damn kid? He's so dumb, and the movie should just be about Belial all day. But anything, anything for that sweet little angel. But I would have to draw the line at panty raiding and sexual assault. He would really have to strap his manners on when it came to this stuff. Do have to draw a line, unfortunately, in the sand on that. Murdering, of course, on a case by case. But anyway, when the cops do come to investigate this tantrum, which everyone should have just minded their own fucking business about, poor little Belial, he has to hide in the toilet and be swaddled in a towel just to calm down. But don't fear, he is back to murdering. He's back to his old ways. I mean, it doesn't take much. He has a very resilient heart and soul. And he's back on his murder spree, and he's such a little murder champion. And I'd be at all of his scenes just rooting him on. Oh, he's such a talent. He's such a little star, and he's doing such a great job at it. But of course, it ends with a tragic fall, and honestly, it just makes me lose all hope for this world. Pitting brother against a brother like this, putting a poor, fleshy Geodude in the ground, it makes me sick. And frankly, Belial, he deserved better. Dwayne, who really gives a shit, but Belial, he deserves so much more. And there are sequels, so maybe he lives, he gets better. I've never seen the sequels because his death marked me so tragically. I didn't think I could, honestly, but maybe now's the time for me to be strong. Because baby Belial, forever and always. So James Wan is a modern legend. He is a man I admire greatly. I would love for him to walk me down the aisle if I ever get married. I feel like he should be the one to give me away. He has a true dedication to the craft, and he has a lot of fun with it too. Horror can actually be very fun in games, even when the stakes are very grave. He borrows from many classics for Malignant, from Argento to Fulci's The Psychic, to Basket Case, of course, with some additional body horror stuff thrown in there. Especially that opening asylum scene. So good. But I don't want to say too much about the film because if you haven't seen it, you should go in cold. It's how James would want it, and I respect his wishes fully. I did get to catch an early screening of this before like a lot of other people got to see it, and I'm really glad that it wasn't spoiled for me. Because I have seen a lot of horror movies in my day, and never seen a twist like that. I'm sure Shyamalan was hospitalized afterwards. And thankfully he's doing okay. He's been making some great ones since then. So I was glad to see him back on his feet after that. The acting is very like Euro horror, theatrical, and the craftsmanship behind the camera is very modern one style. We get some excellent neon lighting, supernatural action, and the wackiest tone shift possibly in horror movie history. So it follows Madison, who is having visions of murders before they happen. It becomes a race between her and the police to discover how her past might be affecting the present. Who is this mysterious Gabriel? Does he exist? Or is he just another of Madison's visions? It culminates in an exceptionally fun prison fight, and I promise you this will not be one that you soon forget. So I think what people get most wrong about James Wan's films is that he's having just as much fun as you are. I mean, they're all a little tongue in cheek. That's not to say there can't be, serious moments, but take this one in the same vein as Basket Case. Self awareness can become very grating, even cringe. And our over relying on absurdity can become really lazy, which, I just talked about in my obsession review that I have on my letterboxd because I hated it. And yeah, it's just, wow, everything wrong. with the coming generation. But not too much about that, but go check it out on my letterboxd if you want to spread the hate. But James Wan, to me, he hits that perfect amount of ridiculous without needing to be so obvious he's in on the joke that, we're forgetting that we're watching entertainment. He is unapologetically him, which is brave, and dare I say, avant-garde. Thank you, James Wan, for all the years that you've given and will continue to give to top tier entertainment. Oh, our Belial and Gabriel, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done. Do not forgive us our debts, but lead us into temptation. Deliver us your evil. In your names we praise.